Hi guys, and welcome to my VGC tutorial series. This is episode number 1, an introduction to VGC. So let's start off by looking at what is VGC. VGC stands for the Video Game Championships, which is a tournament series run by the Pokémon Company. It's a type of battling format used with a specific rule set played within a Pokémon doubles battle, or 2 versus 2. Next, we'll look at what is the VGC format. Well, as I said previously, the VGC format uses the Pokémon doubles battle platform. A player has a team of 6 Pokémon within this format. Within Team Preview, they pick 4 of those Pokémon and then battle with 2 at a time. So now we have a bit of a better understanding of the VGC format. Let's look at the rules used within the Video Game Championships. So, each championship season, TPCI, also known as the Pokémon Company International, release a new VGC rule set. Now, the seasons tend to run from September to August annually, but the rule sets are normally influenced on the most recent Pokémon games released. And each season's new rule set will vary slightly, which to new players can be slightly confusing. Like, really confusing. So, as an example of some VGC rules, let's take the VGC 2016 rule set that we've used this season. Within this rule set, all battles must be played on the Pokémon games Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby, which are the most recent installments in the series. Players can use any Pokémon within the Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby National Pokédex, which can be found in-game and contain all 721 Pokémon. Unfortunately, there is an exception to this. We can't use all 721 Pokémon, as the following legendary Pokémon aren't permitted within the VGC 2016 rule set. These include Mew, Celebi, Jirachi, Deoxys, Fione, Manaphy, Darkrai, Shaman, Arceus, Victini, Keldeo, Meloetta, Genesect, Diancie, and Hooper. And this is because they're kind of more special event Pokemon and aren't regularly caught in game. Pokemon not captured or hatched in the X and Y or Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire game series aren't permitted either. So anything prior to X and Y that you've caught or hatched, you can't unfortunately use within the 2016 rule set. And the exceptions don't finish there, as your team of 6 Pokemon may have no more than 2 of the following restricted Pokemon, and they include Mewtwo, Lugia, Ho-Oh, Kyogre, Groudon, Rayquaza, Dialga, Palkia, Giratina, Reshiram, Zekrom, Kyurem, Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde. Now we have a basic understanding of what Pokemon are allowed to use in the VGC 2016 rule set. Let's continue on with the rules. The next one on the list is banned items, and the only banned item within this rule set is the Soul Dew item. Now, that may be because it's kind of overpowered. That's kind of questionable within this format, but either way, a player has to abide by these rules and this item's not permitted. There are clauses within this rule set as well. Players can't use 2 of the same Pokemon on one team or 2 of the same items on one team. And players have to be aware that they can only use Pokemon with items or moves obtained in Pokemon games X and Y, Omega Ruby or Alpha Sapphire. So, for examples of this, you can't have 2 Pikachus on your team, and you definitely can't have 2 leftover items on your team, or any items that are obtained in the game series prior to X and Y, like gems that were obtained in Pokemon games Black and White. Now that we've had a look at what Pokemon are allowed to use and a brief overview of the rule set within the VGC 2016 series, let's have an overall look at the VGC season structure. Now, a VGC season operates on a point structure. To earn points, a player has to participate in sanctioned TPCI tournaments, and depending on how well you finish and what level of tournament you are playing in, this will determine the eventual points you are awarded. These points are called championship points, or sometimes referred to as CP for short. For a player to earn championship points, they must participate in sanctioned events, and each event has its own point structure depending on a player's finish. There are 7 different types of sanctioned events through a season. These are as followed. There are selected online tournaments, premier challenges, mid-season showdowns, regionals, nationals, and new to the 2016-17 season, we'll be seeing Continental Championships being organised. Now unfortunately we don't have any further information at the minute on Continental Championships, and this should be released around September time this year. The 7th and final sanctioned event of the season is an invite-only tournament. This is the Pokémon World Championships, and the Pokémon World Championships takes place in August every year and is the final event of that Pokémon series. Now for a player to earn an invite to the World Championships, they must participate within the 6 other sanctioned events throughout the season, and place as highly as possible, obtaining as many championship points as they can, in hope that at the end of the season, when the rankings are finalised, they're in a position to earn an invite to the Pokémon World Championships. Next, we're going to look at each sanctioned event's tier and its championship point payout. It is key to note though that all championship points that we are about to discuss are based on the 2015-2016 point structure, and these point payouts are likely to change for the 16-17 season, which we'll probably end up getting around September time this year. Getting back on topic, we'll now take a look at Premier Challenges. Now Premier Challenges are one of the more lower tier events throughout a VGC circuit. You'll notice as well that there'll be more Premier Challenges organised throughout the season than any other of the sanctioned events. And this is for a couple of reasons. One of the main reasons behind this is because Premier Challenges have the lowest CP or championship point payout of all organised tournaments. And another reason you'll see more Premier Challenges throughout a season than any other sanctioned event is because they're indirectly organised by local TOs who organise the events in and around your local area. So now if we take a closer look at the Premier Challenge events, we can see I've navigated across to the Pokemon.com website, which I'll link down in the description below, which will contain all of this information and all of the following clips. So now, as we can see, if a player finishes first in a Premier Challenge, they'll receive 30 championship points. If a player finishes second, they'll receive 20. From third to fourth, will receive 14. Fifth to eighth will receive 8. And 9 to 16 will receive 2 championship points. Now if we look across to the right of this table, we can see it's labelled kicker, and underneath each placing of this event there is a number marked next to it. Now if we go across to the Pokemon.com website, their official explanation of the kicker system is: events will receive kicker points if attendance meets a certain threshold. Base points will not change, but if the kicker level is reached, championship points are awarded deeper into the final standings. So as we can see, for places first and second at a Premier Challenge, the kicker level is 0, so no matter what happens, the player that finishes in first place will always receive 30 championship points, and the player that finishes in second place will always receive 20 championship points. Unfortunately, for players finishing third to fourth, they would need a minimum player attendance of 8. For 5th to 8th they would need a minimum attendance of 16 players, and for 9th to 16th they would need a minimum attendance of 32 to receive their corresponding championship point payout. Now these championship points only apply to a Premier Challenge that has less than 40 players in attendance. If a Premier Challenge receives more than 40 players in attendance, it becomes an elevated Premier Challenge, meaning the championship point payouts for each place except first place will increase. Now as we can see, first place, whether it be in a normal Premier Challenge or an elevated Premier Challenge, award 30 championship points, so this doesn't change. But if a player finishes second in an elevated Premier Challenge, they receive 7 additional championship points to what you would in a regular Premier Challenge. Third and fourth will receive an additional 10 championship points, receiving 24 championship points. 5th to 8th will receive 21 championship points, and 9th to 16th will receive 18 championship points. And this goes on, as you can see. Now before we move on and look at the other sanctioned events and their championship point payouts, I will just say it is key to keep this kicker principle in mind. This will not only help you when reviewing the tables for each placing throughout the different sanctioned events, it will also become useful information for when you attend events yourself. Now the next sanctioned event we're going to look at is online tournaments. They're another lower tier event within the VGC circuit, but unlike the Premier Challenges, Regionals and Nationals, they're, like the name says, held online. And much like the Premier Challenge events, their championship point payout is quite similar, and this is why I've named it a lower tier event. But unlike your Premier Challenge events, you won't be playing against smaller groups of players. Pretty much an online tournament is you versus the rest of the Pokemon world, which increases the difficulty level of this tournament significantly. It is important to note that online tournaments are held over a 3-day period where players can play up to a maximum of 15 battles per day, totaling in 45 battles for the duration of this event. Players' rankings are determined on a rating system which is based within the online tournament itself. Rankings are normally posted about a week after the event finishes, which will determine the championship point payout for this event. And throughout the VGC season, we'll see around 3 online tournaments organised. You can find out when these tournaments will be organised by visiting the Pokemon Global Link website, which you can see on screen now, and I'll link this in the description below. So as you can see on screen now, we have the championship point payouts for selected online tournaments. If a player finishes first in an online tournament, they will receive 45 championship points. For a player that finishes second, they'll receive 40. For players that finish third and fourth, they'll receive 36. 5th to 8th will receive 32 championship points, and 9th to 16th will receive 26 championship points. As we can see, the championship point increments decrease right down up until 255th place, where a player will receive 3 championship points. The next sanctioned event that we'll look at is the Mid-Season Showdown. A Mid-Season Showdown is a lower to mid-tier event sitting right in between a Premier Challenge and a Regional regarding its championship point payout. And now if we go across to the Pokemon.com website, we can have a further in-depth look at the championship point payouts for a mid-season showdown. And as you can see, if a player finishes in first place, they'll receive 90 championship points. For second, you'll receive 80 championship points, and third and fourth will receive 72 championship points, which is a significantly higher amount of championship points received than your Premier Challenges and online tournaments that we reviewed earlier. The next sanctioned event that we'll look at is the Regional Championships. A regional championship is a mid-tier event and offers again more championship points than you receive from a Premier Challenge, online tournament or mid-season showdown. And because of this higher championship point payout a regional championship has, you won't see as many of these events organised through a VGC season. And now if we head across to the Pokemon.com website again, we can review the championship point payouts for a regional tournament. As you can see, they are significantly higher than the previous sanctioned events we reviewed, offering first place 150 championship points, second place 135, and the increments go on as can be seen on screen. We'll now review the final sanctioned event that we have currently within the VGC season. This is a Nationals Championship. National Championships are the highest tier event throughout a VGC season, offering the highest championship point payout of all sanctioned events. And as we can see by going across to the Pokemon.com website, we can review these championship point payouts from the list below. And because national championships have such a high championship point payout, we will normally only see one of these tournaments organised throughout a VGC season. And finally, before we finish up this section, I will briefly discuss a new event that we'll be expecting in the 2016-17 VGC season, and that will be Continental Championships. Continental Championships will be a higher tier event and have a similar point structure to a Nationals Championship. We currently don't have very much information on Continental Championships, but as I said earlier in the video, we should expect this information due out around September time this year. And once this information is finally released, I do plan on doing an update video to this information on these new events and the updated championship point structure. A player's goal throughout a VGC season is to acquire as many championship points through these sanctioned events that we've looked at in hope of earning an invite to play at the Pokemon World Championships. A Pokemon World Championship invite is determined on where a player finally ranks in his or her rating zone at the end of each season. And these rating zones are divided up as followed: North America, Latin America, Europe, and Asia Pacific. And each of these rating zones will have its own final ranking system at the end of the VGC season. And each rating zone's criteria to receive a World Championships invite can be found on the Pokemon.com website, along with player rankings, finding events, and how to register to play in the Video Game Championships. And I'll link all of this in the description below. So to round off this video, I'm just going to quickly cover how to register so you're eligible to play in the Video Game Championships, and I'll cover how to find events. Now, to register to play in the Video Game Championships, you'll first need to go across to the Pokemon.com website and create an account. I will just say now, if you're under the age of 13, you'll need a parent or a guardian to create an account for themselves first, as they will need to authorize your account to participate and play Pokemon programs. So once you're on the Pokemon.com website, if you look across to the left hand side of this webpage, you'll see a small menu bar, and on the second tab down you'll see a join button. If you click through on the join button, that will take you to the create your own Pokemon Trainer Club account, and from here you just fill in your details and follow the steps and you'll be registered in no time. And now you've set up your Pokemon Trainer Club account, there's one more step you need to do before you're eligible to play in the Video Game Championships. Now the first step is logging back into your account. And once you have done this, you'll land on a page that has a heading of Edit Profile. And under this Edit Profile heading, you'll have a list of options below. Now scroll down and click on the Play Pokemon Settings tab, and this will take you through to the following page. Now you're on the Play Pokemon Settings page, you want to scroll down to the main body of text that is headed Play Pokemon Preferences. Now under this header, there will be a section of text and you want to tick the box marked Yes, I want to participate in all available Play Pokemon programs, and by doing this, you're opting in to participate and receive championship points within the Video Game Championships. Once this is done, you're all set to go. And all that's left to do is to find an event to participate in and start your own Video Game Championship journey. Now to do this, all you need to do is visit the Play Pokemon Events Finder webpage, which I'll link in the description below. Once you're there, enter your location details and this will present you with all of the events that are in and around your area that you can go and participate in. And that's it. Go have fun and good luck. Thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you've enjoyed it and found the content useful. If you've got any questions from anything that was in the video, just leave them in the comment section below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. This will be the first video in a series of VGC tutorial videos I'll be doing, so if you would like to see more, hit the subscribe button wherever it is along the bottom and smash the like button. That would be massively appreciated. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye!